Hi everyone, welcome to Crypto World Behind the Scenes podcast. I'm happy to start this first episode. We will discuss crypto behind the scenes stories about development and product and exciting ventures in the crypto world. I'm happy to have our first guest in episode 1, Nuke Goldstein, CTO and co-founder at Celsius Network. Nuke, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and happy to learn a little bit more about yourself and Celsius, and we'll dive right into the topics we want to discuss.
Thank you, Ariel, and congratulations on the new show. Very honored to be your first guest. My name is Nuke Goldstein. I grew up in Israel, alumni of the Technion and computer science. Was an entrepreneur for the last 20 plus years. My career started in mostly defense and intelligence and software related to that aspect. I started 4 companies. 2 of them were a fail and 2 of them were reasonably successful. So I was lucky to have a good entrepreneurial life as an engineer. In 2017, I joined Celsius along with Alex Mashinsky, our founder, and my friend Daniel Leon, and we started Celsius Network. We launched our product in 2018. I'm the Chief Technology Officer. We grew very, very quickly from 0 to around $25 billion in assets. Over 1,100,000 users, still growing exponentially. So I will file the Celsius Network as a success.
And great. So thank you for joining us. And can you tell us a little bit about your product itself? What does it do? What do you do exactly? And examples of countries you work with.
Yeah, so Celsius Network is very, very simple proposition. We allow people to start an account using a web app or a mobile app that we have. And once they start their account, they can transfer coins and tokens. We support about 45 different coins and tokens, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others. They transfer their assets into this account and we generate yield for them, meaning every Monday they open their email and Monday becomes their best day of the week because every Bitcoin got more Bitcoin, every Ether got more Ether. So that's the basic premise of what we do. So it's kind of an easy way to tell people, come be with us. And obviously we need to earn their trust and work hard for that. On the other aspect of Celsius is actually how we generate that yield. We work with many institutions and corporations. We lend coins out. We also mining Bitcoin. So we have several ways to generate that yield, and we transfer some of that yield back to our customers' account. So a very, very simple proposition. We also are working with partners all over the world. One good example is Line. Line, just so you know, in the Far East, has 650 million users. That's a lot of users, and our partners, and through our API program, partner API program, they offer yield to their customers. So that's just one example. We also work with multiple hedge funds, exchanges out there in the world, and we lend them coins. And that's how you manage $25 billion in assets. You need big players to partner with you.
So the end user can send only cryptocurrency, or they can send regular currency as well?
Yeah, so we support cryptocurrencies, but there is something called a stablecoin. You can actually, and the stablecoin, just to quickly explain, For example, USDC, which is backed by Coinbase, or a company called Circle that was acquired by Coinbase. Those who don't know, Coinbase is now a public company. We did an IPO earlier this year. So USDC is actually one token is equal $1, and they keep that balance, and you know that it's always $1. It's not volatile like Bitcoin or other coins. So we support 7 or 8 different stable coins, and some of them are attached to other coins. And this is a very key to some of the decentralized finance world.
Excellent. So can you tell us the examples of 2 leading projects? What is the main focus in terms of product and development, the challenges that you're facing when building this huge infrastructure?
Yeah, so I think the easy picking is the 2 projects is one, how do we allow so much funds to flow through a system? You know, people transfer in, people withdraw their coins and tokens, and you know, our volumes are incredible. I mean, we throw numbers of billions like it's nothing, but it's a lot of responsibility, right? It's a lot of paranoia. You know, security is always your number one thought. How do we make it safe? How do we, and security is equal to trust, right? The basic premise of our whole operation is trust. People trust us with their fund. You know, part of it is because they don't trust the banks anymore with their funds, right? But to generate that trust requires a lot of hard work. One example is that we use something called MPC, multi-party computation, which is a technology that has been around many years, but it's pretty new to crypto. And what MPC does, it is a cryptographic way to, instead of managing one wallet or one account, you now have roles in the organization, admins and viewers and others. And you can imagine that an institution cannot just have one guy with a key written on some note and put it in a vault or something like that. That doesn't work for a large institution, right? They need something that is more aligned to the organizational needs and the corporate needs. So when MPC came on aboard, and Celsius Network was the first one in our industry to actually implement MPC in the lending and the yield industry, and now everybody is doing it, because that's, you know, we kind of recognize this is where the world needs to go in order to bring institutional money into crypto. And I'm also happy to say that companies like Fireblocks, which is our partner and the MPC provider, are coming from Israel. Many of those companies are coming from Israel, and it's becoming a key infrastructure. One of these companies, Curve, which is another company we worked with, was just recently bought by PayPal. It's also an Israeli company. It was bought by PayPal for, I think, 500 million or so. There's a Shardex that was bought by, I believe, eBay. So there's an understanding in the corporate world that this is an important infrastructure. So I think you know, this provides us with the security and the organizational needs that we require.
And in terms of regulation, you know, how do you adapt yourself to the regulation? And I understand that you have quite a large amount of lawyers working with you in order to meet the regulation in different countries. How do you adapt to this in terms of the product itself?
Yeah, look, this is an evolving industry and evolving very, very quickly. I think there was a Fidelity research that shows it's 9 or 10 times faster than the internet in terms of adoption and you know, advancements. So the regulators have a hard time catching up. It's a very different world, and they have a hard job. I don't envy them. I don't want to be in their shoes, because you know, you build your world and you manage it, and then gravity shifts. You know, it's no longer the same gravity that you had before. Something else happened, and there's a big body sucking all the gravity. So it's tough. But from our perspective as entrepreneurs, as a company builders, we had to invest a lot of money and resources into legal advice. Sometimes there were no clear rules, right? Celsius, for example, we decided to KYC, know your customer, which is kind of like when you open a bank account, they get you documents, they check you are who you are. And we implemented that from the get-go. From the first version of our software, we made our users go through it. Now, if we didn't do it, we'll probably have many, many millions of users by now because the friction is so low. But we decided to do it, and not because anyone told us, because we said, look, we project that in few years, this will be a regulated industry. And there's no way that a regulator will let you bring unknowns into your financial ecosystem. So that's just one example how we try to kind of foresee the future and work with that. But it requires a lot of legal work. We're at 170 countries and more jurisdictions. You know, in the US, for example, is 50 different states. Each one has their own needs, requirements, regulatory guidance. So we're doing our best to be as compliant as we can. It's an uphill battle because, again, the regulators themselves are trying to figure out how to deal with this industry. So,
how do you see the institutional companies going into crypto? You know, there's a lot of discussion. You know, can crypto be stopped? You know, or not? You know, how do they see it? You know, in terms of activity.
Well, I think that train has left. You know, I don't think you can stop it anymore. You know, there's a few jokes in the crypto community. For example, what happens if Bitcoin goes to zero? Well, the joke is I'll buy all of it, right? But if you dive into the core of this joke, it just tells you that Bitcoin will never go to zero. What happens if all the countries in the world shut down Bitcoin? You know, they just kick out Bitcoin. All the countries, you know, how many countries? 200 and something countries. Everyone shut down. Bitcoin will still exist. It will find a way. So that technology is a survivor technology. And, you know, so I don't think they can fight it anymore. To me, it's like you can compare it to the internet, right? You have two pieces to the internet. You have the TCP/IP infrastructure, which allows the internet to flow, and these are your rails, and then you have the World Wide Web, the Facebook, the Instagram, the whatever, and this you can stop. You know, in North Korea, you probably cannot use Facebook, right? But you can use the internet, you can browse, you can use all kinds of tools that use the TCP/IP. The way I see it is that right now we are finding the line, what is infrastructure and what is a use case on that infrastructure. I think that infrastructure is whatever you cannot stop. DeFi, for example, is kind of on the verge of between being a completely decentralized to being a regulated industry. So we are now trying to find where this line is. At the end of this process, the regulators will have clear guidance. They will regulate those projects that are built on these rails. And the rails themselves cannot be stopped. Decentralization, a pure decentralization, cannot be controlled or stopped. You know, if I write a smart contract on Ethereum, it's not a regular software that you can say, hey, Nuke, kill that software because you're breaking the law. No, I dump it on as a DApp, as a decentralized app on the blockchain. Nobody can touch it. You know, even if you torture me, you know, it depends how I wrote it, of course, but in theory, it can be done in a way that nobody can stop it anymore. And that's something that new engineers and new entrepreneurs and architects are discovering more and more. That's the power of this industry.
And in terms of crypto future, do you think we are in a stage of evolution, or are we expecting any new revolutions in the next few years or so? I don't. How do you see this Are we past the revolution or in terms of evolution right now? Where are we?
No, I think, look, it depends. In terms of technology, the innovation is at its peak. A lot of the universities, Ivy League universities, just opened their faculties 2, 3, 4 years ago. That means that the new talent and new brains and new innovation is still coming. I mean, this whole industry, the Bitcoin was just released in 2009. Ethereum was released, I think, 2014 or 15. So this is a very nascent thing. Only the last 3 or 4 years, there was a boom of acceptance that this is actually working. This is not just a scam. This is not, Bitcoin will not fail and everybody will lose their money. People are now realizing that this is the new internet. This is the new infrastructure. And when they understood that, universities like MIT was one of the first ones to jump on board. I think 2016, they opened the courses and so on the subject matter. And I'm working here, I'm here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. I'm working with universities and they're just building their programs. So my point is that the real innovation is still in front of us. In terms of revolution versus evolution, I think technology has proven itself and now it's evolving. But in terms of the geopolitical implications of this, we're still in the early stages of a real revolutions, because crypto adoption is at all-time high and it's still increasing. We don't believe the news from China. The adoption of Bitcoin, the number of wallets created is at all-time high. It's still blowing up. These people will soon become voters or be seen as voters. And and I think was Bill Clinton, I think, when he ran for election, he had this advisor, Carwell, and he said to him, it's the economy, stupid, right? Everybody remembers that. I think in the next elections, you'll start seeing it's about the crypto economy, stupid. Because there is a big statement here that when it's the economy, who drives the economy? The government, the central banks, the banks. Who benefits from that economy? It's the banks, it's the central banks, it's the government. In crypto, it's the upside down world. You are in control. It's your money. It's your information. You own it. It's the anti to everything that was before. So there's a big war. It's a revolution. And people who are exposed to that and feel that freedom and empowerment that they didn't have before, when they go to the booth to vote, you better believe it, this will become a political issue very quickly. And I think the US Senate learned that recently when a $1.5 trillion budget about bridges and infrastructure, all they talked about was crypto, because somebody tried to put some sentences to regulate crypto. And I'm sure like some people said, what's crypto? What's going on here? And we're talking about bridges and you're talking to some geeks in sandals and something. So I think you'll see more and more of that political impact. So that's where the real revolution is.
In the crypto world, let's say, when the world will be more crypto, do you think it will be more equal to between the romantic notion of poor and rich people will be more level, or it's just a romantic notion and it will stay this way?
Yeah, look, something happened in crypto that was the first ever. The people, the 99%, were first into the party, and the institutions, which are usually the first to the party where money is made, are now the last. Okay, so the balance of power has shifted. That never happened before. If you wanted to invest, when Facebook did an IPO, right? Can't remember how much I think they came out in the pre-sale at $17. Everybody knew it's going to be huge, right? But the rules say you and me, we cannot join that party. It's JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. These guys, hey, go get yourself very, very cheap Facebook stock, wait until it goes to 100, then sell it to the poor saps in the 99%, right? Okay. And now it's the opposite. And I think people need to realize what is HODL, hold on for dear life. HODL is a mantra that said, don't let them do this again. When Bitcoin has a little dip because somebody said something stupid on the media, don't sell it back to them. Waiting for you to sell your crypto to them because they want to buy it cheap. They know what a limited supply asset is. They know that it's a different economy. It's economy of a limited supply, meaning there's not going to be more Bitcoins out there. 21 million Bitcoins, that's it. And the more you gather now, the more it will be worth because everybody wants it. There's 21 million Bitcoins, there's 50 million multimillionaires out there in the world. What happens when each one of them calls the broker and give me one of those Bitcoins everybody's talking about and said, there's not enough. Pay as much as you need. That's what's going on. And people who sell when the news is bad are missing that party. And we need to keep that party to the 99% because this is power. They are trying, they want this Bitcoin, they want this Ethereum. They're in on it, and they're trying to lower the price so you can sell them cheap.
Sure, that sounds very interesting. And in terms, let's finalize, with what do you see at Celsius Network, technological challenges for, let's say, I don't want to run too much for the next 5 years, but for the next year, how do you see as a CTO your technological challenges for the next year?
So there is a saying in crypto world, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight, and then you win, right? So we're right now entering the fight period. They're no longer laughing, I can tell you that for sure. So I think this will have a lot of challenges, especially now that the regulators are trying to figure out how to regulate this industry. And again, I don't envy them. It's a very difficult thing once you dive into it and understand this deeply. And I hope that they do the homework. I can tell you, I met few people. They looked very savvy and very intelligent people and good people, really. But this will be a challenge because they're trying to set new rails. We need to adjust our software to what we, for the ever-changing regulatory environment. This is very hard to do. So that's one. The other thing is DeFi. So as I said, DeFi is becoming the de facto TCP/IP for this new internet, right? And one of the things we're doing is we're investing in a lot in R&D on how to bridge DeFi with what we call CeFi, centralized finance. So Celsius is a CeFi company because we're centralized, we're regulated, we're etc. But DeFi cannot be regulated. But DeFi has a lot of value in it, and a lot of innovation, and a lot of yield, financially. How do we bridge those two? That's something we're working very hard on, and hopefully we'll announce some things soon. We're making great progress, but I think these are the two things that are on my mind as we grow and evolve.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Nuke, for taking the time to this broadcast, and I'm happy to have you with us. If you're interested in working with Celsius, I think there are opening positions in various departments. So check out their website. And thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Ariel, and good luck with the new show. Thank you.
Thank you.